With Arsenal's recent defeat to Liverpool, there are many signings, and the fact they've spent 1 billion great British pounds or euros, I'm not sure actually, whatever currency it is. They spent 1 billion is all I'm trying to say. In the last 6 years, and with Arteta failing to win any sort of silverware since a Tin Pot FA Cup in the grand year of 2020, can Arsenal still win the league this year despite many people's doubts, and especially since Liverpool are probably the most OP team in the world right now after they signed Isak? So,
with that being said, welcome back to another episode of the Basement Ballers. Brahim already explained it with eloquence. Today's topic is about whether Arsenal can still win the league or not. With all of these factors in play, what are the expectations for Arsenal, and can they still do the big one? Like pause, obviously, but that's the topic for today. Now, obviously, like Brahim said, Arsenal just coming off of a loss against Liverpool over the weekend at Anfield, mind you, which is not as disastrous as it would have been if it was at the Emirates.
it's not the loss itself, it's the way they lost. For example, okay, Liverpool, you can agree, have not been amazing to start the season. Yeah, they won 3 wins out of 3, but those performances have not been, great. Bournemouth rocked up to Anfield and scored 2 goals. Yeah, you guys ended up winning 4-2, but you were up 2-0. Bournemouth tied the game, gave you guys a scare, and you guys won it, last minute, whatever. Newcastle, same thing. My issue is not necessarily the loss, it's the way they performed. So they went into Anfield playing 3 DMs, essentially. They played a midfield of Zubamendi, Declan Rice, and Mikel Merino, while their brand new shiny toy Eze was on the bench. Fully fit, by the way. And Odegaard was on the bench. It's not can they win in terms of the team. I think they do have the team for it. I think it's the manager.
Yes. Now, that's the problem as well, because even when Eze had come on, he looked lively. He looked ready to play. He was attacking. These were all positive signs, but there just wasn't enough time, perhaps, for him to have a meaningful impact on the game. Odegaard comes in as well, and it was the same story. Now, whether that's attributed to just Arsenal pressing more or whether because Liverpool decided to park the bus, either or, Arsenal on an attacking front looked a little flat. Even in that first half, and then most of that second half, they looked flat. Madueke was pocketed by Kirkez. Somebody go check that brother's pockets and empty him out real quick.
I wouldn't say pocketed. I think Kirk has dealt with him well, yes. But Madueke, I think Madueke was probably Arsenal's best player that game.
Perhaps, but
I don't think he did much.
Look at Kirkez's blocked shots.
No, I know he was blocking shots. He was tracking. No, don't get me wrong. Kirkez did do well. I just wouldn't say he pocketed him.
Fair enough. Whatever sort of lingo you want to use is fine by me. I think defensively, though, Liverpool really good, which is a very different Liverpool than we've seen in the last 2 games. Obviously, Newcastle defensively, we were, and then obviously conceding 2 goals to 10 men, and then against Bournemouth, the defense also, right?
And so Arsenal cannot exploit those defensive weaknesses. That's basically the concern. Because if you go back to, let's see, so this is year 4 of Arsenal being, you could say, contenders in the league. Obviously, going into 22-23, no one expected them to be, when they ended up almost winning the league, obviously. The year after, almost won the league as well, lost by 2 points. Last year, very big down season, because although they did finish second, they finished, I believe, 12 points off Liverpool? Because you guys finished with, 86 points, I think?
It was, yeah. Well,
Arsenal finished with 74. Which,
near the end, they bridged the gap because Liverpool basically lost all their games.
Yeah, and 74 points is something that I remember back in 2017, back in the peak Wenger out days. Arsenal finished with 75 points, and that got them 5th back then. So 74 points. Yeah, they finished second, but the Premier League season was poor. They didn't make it far in the Champions League, yes, but it's at a point now where you look at Arsenal and you think, has this project under Arteta peaked? Has he not peaked in terms of they can't get better, but has he done all he could in his capabilities? And I wouldn't say yes, but I am starting to doubt whether he should stay on. I'm saying, obviously, if end of the season Arsenal don't even win a trophy, even an FA Cup or Carabao Cup, I don't think saves them. But if Arsenal end up trophyless again this season, because let's keep it straight, there's no excuse for them not to win at least 1 trophy. A Premier League and a Champions League is very hard, don't get me wrong. But an FA Cup, a Carabao Cup, they can win those.
And you know what? I would actually go farther than that, Brahim. I'll say this. If Arsenal are outside of the top 4 by Christmas, sack him.
I don't see how they would, though. The thing is, I don't think the league is strong enough because, for example, okay, you have Liverpool, obviously, they're going to be in and around the title race, obviously. You have Man City, who on paper you'd think, but they've just lost 2 out of their first 3 games, and one of them was to Brighton. The other one was to Spurs at home, which is, there's that. Arsenal they beat Man United away 1-0, very shaky performance, but they ended up winning. They smacked Leeds, and then they lose to Liverpool. And a performance that I wouldn't even say was like bad, but they just like it just felt flat. Like that game, you can admit, was a very boring.
Like Gyökeres was basically Casper the Ghost. It didn't really impact the game too much. Martinelli as well. It was basically like the Madueke show up front, where
Martinelli,
that brother needs Jesus. I think
that guy needs to get sold, man. He needs to get sold. The guy's 25, man. The guy dribbles with his eyes closed. Can't look up for a pass. He can't do anything, man. And like I just
Arsenal, bro. You know what? Like so. 7 transfers this transfer window, right? They had a Kepa transfer, which to be frank,
backup goalie, whatever. That's not really significant. Okay.
Norgard from Brentford. They got him.
Decent. That's like the Partey replacement. He's not as good as Partey, but whatever.
Zubamendi, which for me was one of their better signings.
Decent, but to be fair, he is a signing that would have made sense for them, I'd say 3 years ago. Zubamendi isn't like, I remember Barca were linked to him heavy for like 2 or 3 years back in like the 2020, 21 days, like those kind of times, whatever. And I wanted him badly at Barca, but the thing is now he's, I think, 28, 29. So not that he peaked, but I think they should have signed him at least 3 years ago. I feel like now, I don't know.
Sure. Then they had Madueke, of course, from Chelsea, who maybe like on the scorecard is not like wow yet. That's not fair to him though. But still has shown a little bit of something. They got their star striker.
Oh yeah, they got. Let's go through them. They got Gyökeres, they got Eze, they got Kepa, they got Norgard, they got Madueke, they got. I'm just gonna call him Handicap, bro. Handicap. And then they got a Zubamendi. That's 7 signings right there. So I mean, they're not at the level you'd say as like Liverpool, because obviously Liverpool, well, they got Isak, Verts, they got Frimpong, Kirkes. They should have gone Gueye as well. They got that one center back who I keep forgetting his name from the Serie A. It's Leone. Leone, him. They got him. That's it. That's all you guys signed, right?
There's a couple like younger talents.
Yeah, but I'm talking like it's actual
major signings. Like we have obviously Mamardashvili who's come in.
Yeah. That was the last one. Yeah, but he was already agreed.
He was agreed last season.
Yeah,
obviously he was on loan at Valencia and so on and so forth. But
you look at that, I don't see how Arsenal can win the league this year. Because look, okay, obviously getting United and Anfield away in the first 3 games of the season is good in a way, because you at least got 1 win out of those 2 games, which is cool. So,
United was at Old Trafford, you're right.
And they got a few hard away games out of their belt. They got 1 win out of 2, which isn't the worst result, obviously. Could have been worse. They beat Leeds. So, I mean, they could technically on paper still win the league, because obviously they'll have fixtures that are going to be hard. But, Anfield away is probably the hardest fixture in the calendar. And they got that out pretty early in the season.
So let me just say this, though. 3 games into the season, and like you said, a couple of like tough away fixtures out of the way. They haven't lost at Anfield since, was it FA Cup? Maybe, I don't remember. No, FA Cup was away, I think. Actually,
let's say they haven't lost. Let's say they drew last year. They drew last year in 23-24. They drew, I believe, as well.
It's been a while.
They drew in 22-23. I think Maybe it was 21-22 the last time they lost to Anfield.
I'd have to look it up, but honestly, I just remember that it was a while since they lost to Anfield. And quite frankly, that defense, obviously adding Piero, whatever, that defense terrorizes attackers. It's so sound, right? Saliba did go down in that game, and I haven't really been keeping up with like what the sort of extent of his injury.
He was injured in the warm-up. Apparently, Arteta still decided to play him, even though he had other center backs on the bench. See, that's the issue. Like, mind you, I'm not an Arsenal fan, but I do like Arsenal. Okay, but I know some Arsenal fans, that's like their biggest issue. Is that Arteta's thing. He's so stubborn. Like, you signed all these defenders, at least use them, because now Saliba, okay, international break, will have 2 weeks off at least. But the guy got injured in warm-up, couldn't continue past the 5th minute of the game. And that's a game that, like, every player, even if they're injured, they're going to want to play. So the fact that he said he couldn't play anymore indicates that that's at least a couple of weeks out. Meanwhile, the guy had a new center back, Mosquera, I think is his name, on the... Oh, I forgot to name him in the transfers as well. Yeah, they had him on the bench. They had, Ben White was on. Actually, no, Ben White might be injured. The point is, they had defenders on the bench. Yeah. And he decides to play silly, which I get. Like, you don't want to play a new center back against Liverpool, that early in the season, whatever. But, like, it is what it is. Do you want to further injure your best or second best center back? No. And that's the thing. He played Saka when he was injured last year as well. Like, he's just, some of his decisions are just baffling. The fact that he brought on Eze only in the 70th minute, and it was still 0-0. So, like, they could have still won. But it was a bit too late, and obviously Szoboszlai turned into Trent. He's a right back who can shoot free kicks, man. You guys have a Trent replacement.
Yeah, I don't know.
It wasn't Frimpong.
Something about, what's it called? Something about playing as fullback unlocks your true free kick potential or something. I don't know what it was, but that's what. But at the end of the day, brother, that's what it took for us to score against this team. Like, defensively, that's why, like, they have the defense capable of winning championships. The problem is management, as well as injuries obviously also comes into play. And also, I just feel like Arsenal, and maybe I'm wrong, but I just feel like Arsenal always has the potential to lose the small games.
Yeah, not lose, I'd say draw.
Or like drop points.
Because here's the thing. Okay, Arsenal's next 3 games in the Prem for September is Nottingham Forest at home, which should be a win because Nottingham Forest have not been good at all this season so far. Man City at home, which is very winnable. Like, yeah, Man City isn't the Man City that they used to be, so they could win that.
It's a Big Six clash.
It's a Big Six clash. It's obviously hard, but like and then they have Newcastle away. That's the hardest one, I think. If they can come out of September with 7 points out of 9, getting Newcastle away out of the way, and then Man City at home out of the way. I think if they can get 7 points out of 9 in September, then they're still in it. But I think if they were to just beat Forest and lose to both City and Newcastle, or draw both those games, it's not that I'm saying it's over. Obviously, the Prem is very long. It's a long season, but I'd be concerned.
It's not looking good, bruv. You know what I'm saying? So it's no, you're right. And also, like, with Newcastle, mind you, now that the Isak drama is out of the way, and they signed Voltamata for, I think it was 85 million euros, I believe. Then like,
they got him, and they got Wisa
from Brentford. So they've definitely strengthened since going to Liverpool, or since playing against Liverpool. Sorry.
Yeah, and
that's a tough game.
If you're a Newcastle fan, obviously you didn't want to lose Isak, but losing Isak and getting 2 strikers, one is already Prem proven, who can get you at least a good 10-15 goals a season, ideally. The other guy wasn't Prem proven, but is very good, and was very good for Stuttgart. And also, for a dude who's 6'6", he dribbles very well. That's one thing I noticed when he played for Germany in the Nations League. Is what I know. It's like the guy dribbles very well for his size. Obviously very big, which is an asset in the Premier League because it is a physical league. So I feel like Newcastle fans, despite the way the saga did go, they obviously probably do not favor Isak much anymore. I just wish that transfer happened before you guys played them at Newcastle.
Yeah, I know.
I wish that happened before. But anyways, probably they're looking at it and are content because they did, I'd say, adequately replace him. But moving on, we're not talking about Newcastle. Arsenal,
of course. But the thing, okay, so Arsenal-wise, obviously finishing 3 seasons in a row at second place FC, as some might call them. Now, with the pressure to perform, not from a club perspective, but from a managerial perspective, because you would think that, people were calling for Arteta's head at the end of the Champions League run last season. But you would think that after this season, Arteta fails to win a trophy, and even if he wins a Carabao Cup, let's say, or something.
Yeah, I think he needs to win a big trophy, like a Prem or a Champions League. And I think personally, the only way I could see him, not saying keeping his job, just because Arsenal's owners are not going to sack him. I know that for a fact, right? But the thing is, for the fans to not be on his ass, I think, after this year, he has to win at least both domestic trophies. If he doesn't win a Prem or a Champions League, he needs to win at least the FA Cup and Carabao Cup. Then he might have a bit of leeway. But if he ends the season with only one of those trophies, or at worst none of those trophies, I think he should be gone.
And the thing is, Brahim, is that you're dealing with a team with Arteta signings, and that team was built by Arteta for many years, and but this is not a team that cannot be managed by another manager.
Yeah, but the issues, you look at the market right now, unless they go and buy a manager out from his contract, I don't see who could. For me personally, if I was Arsenal, I would look at probably these two managers. I would look at Inzaghi, get him out from Al Hilal, right? Get him out from there. Because obviously he goes there for a year or two, whatever, gets a nice payday. But he's not going to stay there forever. Obviously, he's going to want to come back to Europe at some point. You go for him, or my pick, because I look-y wanted him at Barca as well, is Areola from Bournemouth. I would take him.
Yeah, but bro, you also, like, you're looking at, like, managers that have already have a name. Look at Arne Slot. Like, I'm not trying to, like, obviously toot the horn of my own club. But Arne Slot wasn't like that well known.
Yeah, but he took a team that already had Champions League and Premier League winning experience. So, like, I think the reason why you guys won the league last year, for example, yes, it has to do with him a lot. Don't get me wrong, but that's also just a legacy of Klopp's team because most of that team was still Klopp's team. You know, his players, whatever. Now, if you look at the team you guys have this year, it's more of Arne Slot's team because first of all, when everyone's fit, I believe 6 or 7 out of your starters are Arne Slot signing. So you'd have. You know, you have Kirkes and Frimpong. Obviously, you'd have Isak, striker, that's 3. You have, let's say, Ekatike 4. You'd have Wirtz at 5. Like 5. That's 5 right there.
Yes, that sounds.
So that's already half the team that's slot signings already, right? Minus the dudes on the bench or whatever. So that's the thing. It's not like with Arsenal right now, is if you get another manager, yeah, Arteta's instilled a very good, like, I'd say, culture at Arsenal, but he hasn't instilled a winning culture at Arsenal. That's the thing. So I feel like you shouldn't go for a manager who's not like, I guess, like an unknown. Now, Areola, don't get me wrong, is an unknown in the sense that he hasn't managed like a big club yet. He didn't manage, you know, in La Liga, and like his Vallecano teams were very good. He managed obviously Bournemouth last year to their best ever Prem finish. Maybe not in standing wise, but points wise, the most points they've ever had. So yeah, he is an unknown in the sense that he's not a big name, but he is Prem proven. And plus, I feel like the way he plays would suit Arsenal. And you have Inzaghi, who was proven, you know, has won multiple trophies with Inter, took him to 2 Champions League finals. We'll not talk about the one he took them last year, but, you know.
Yeah.
There's that. So for me, you have to go for something like that. I wouldn't go for like an unknown, like a Slot or whatever.
So obviously now hearing your opinion on that, let me ask you a couple of questions, okay? That are obviously, maybe not, well, I mean, some of them are about Arteta, but okay. Number 1, is Odegaard the guy to captain this club?
No.
Okay.
Gabriel or Declan Rice?
Gabriel or Declan Rice. And why do you think that Odegaard isn't the guy?
Well, first of all, because you have 2 types of captains. You have captains who are very vocal, like they yell, they're very, like, you know, animated. Or you have captains who maybe aren't as animated, but they lead through performance. Odegaard is neither. The guy's been shit for a year, and Odegaard, like, you're looking at him, are you really getting scared of this guy in the locker room? No. You look at some guy like Gabriel. He's a bad man. You're scared of Gabriel, right? If you're looking at Declan Rice, you know, he looks like a nice bloke or whatever, but Declan Rice also leads by performance. Like, he's been Arsenal's probably 2nd or 3rd best player the last 2 years since he's been signed there. So that, for me, is what a captain should be. Because you can't be a captain without leading through performance or being scary. And Odegaard is neither. For me, I'd give it to Declan or Gabriel. That's what I'd give it to, personally.
Okay, so then that leads me to question number 2. Is I think that, especially with rival fans, we look at a team like Arsenal and we just say, yeah, player for player, they got good players, right? But it just seems the mentality is really shit, right? So, A, what do you think about Arsenal's mentality? And B, are Arsenal the club that could come back from a 2-0 deficit? And, you know,
they showed it throughout Arteta's time at Arsenal. They have done that multiple times where they've come back from like Leeds or whatever. Like, obviously the biggest example that pops into my head is the Bournemouth game from like 3 years ago with the Reece Nelson winner at the end. Like, they do have that, but the thing is with Arsenal as well is, like, I think their mentality is good. I just think that they need a trophy to back it up. I think they have the mentality of a title-winning team. Some of the players, I'm not going to say all of them, but some of them, I do think. The issue is that some on the team don't, and also they don't have the trophies to back it up. You know, you can talk a good game. Like, I think, for example, Gabriel could be a center back, a title-winning center back out of Liverpool or Man City, whatever. I think Saliba could be. I think Declan Rice could be like a starting midfielder for Liverpool or a Man City. They have players there that can be winners. Like, they are winners. Plus, I mean, Declan Rice has won with West Ham. He captained them to a Conference League. You know what I mean? So they have guys in that team who I think mentally are good. I think some are not as much. I think Odegaard, for example, is one of those players. I don't think Odegaard, like, also mentality, I don't think Odegaard has it. That's why, personally, I'd give it to Gabriel or Declan Rice.
Yeah, that's a fair point. So let's conclude this video by giving our final thoughts on the topic of today, which is Can Arsenal still win the league? Brahim, I'll throw it to you, then I'll give you my opinion, and then we'll
I don't think so, no. I think, first of all, the main reason why is because Liverpool, I just think if the team gels correctly, which, I mean, that's up to debate, obviously, because you guys made a lot of signings. But if the team can gel adequately, I think, no one's stopping Liverpool. That's one. Two, I don't have faith in Arteta winning them the league. Look, don't get me wrong. I think Arteta's a very good manager. I think he did a lot for Arsenal. I think he's a manager that can get you definitely competing, like maybe second place, going far in the Champions League, whatever. I just don't think he's the guy to win you major trophies, personally.
Okay,
So I don't think so.
So for me, I'll say this. Can Arsenal still win the league? Yes. Will they? No. And because I think it is about similar to what you said is I just don't think that Arteta is the guy to win you big trophies. That's number one. But the thing is, and we look at Arsenal in an isolated situation, and again, you have to look at everybody else around Arsenal. So a Manchester City, is that a team that, for example, will stay in this weird vein of form? They just signed Donnarumma, by the way.
I think this is Pep's last season, personally.
Okay. So some people would argue and say, oh, well, Manchester City are just not going to be the club that sort of competes at a high level with these other clubs. Or if they will, it'll be like a top four type thing. Sure. Right? Liverpool, when we announced that we had signed Guehi, I was like, just give us the fucking league. Genuinely, just give us the league.
And then
right?
he's gone.
And they had the fucking farewell video and everything. The social media, the guy wasn't talking to the owners of the club, right? Farewell video was ready. His brother was smiling, all this shit, right? When that deal dropped, I got more nervous. Why? Because now, let's say a Konate goes down, Liverpool are so susceptible defensively, right? And when you are like that in a 38-game league season, you are very susceptible to dropping points, right? Which is what Arsenal obviously would want. And Arsenal is something that they can capitalize on. Again, why? Because defensively, Arsenal are really good, right? So if Arsenal score a goal in a game, they could sit back, defend like they do, their haram ball, and they could obviously win. They could play that very defensive, especially in the latter half of the season, right?
Yeah.
And so through that, if they do that, and if obviously Liverpool slip up defensively like they can, Arsenal can win. But I just don't think that it will happen.
I forgot to mention that. You are correct. Liverpool, the thing is, the team is very good, but the most susceptible place you guys are is in defense because you just don't have any center backs really, like besides Joe Gomez and who else? And Leone, but he's like very unproven, right?
Yeah.
Endo
can play back there.
You're a Van Dijk or a Konate injury away from me completely changing my opinion on Liverpool because obviously, if Van Dijk goes out for or Konate, they go out for even just like a month, which isn't super long, but it's still a month. That I think that derails your whole season. Well, depends the teams you have to play. Obviously, in that month, maybe you can cope without them, but you're one injury away defensively from having a poor season, in my opinion. But if that doesn't happen, like I said, like if injuries are not a case or whatever, then I don't think anyone's stopping Liverpool, personally.
You heard it here. Those are our thoughts. Arsenal probably won't win the league in our opinions, but we want to hear your thoughts in the comments. Like, comment, subscribe to the Basement Ballers. Guys, we really appreciate everybody who's come in, watched our videos, enjoyed the content, and hit that subscribe button. Every day we're getting closer and closer to our goals of 1K subscribers, and all of that is because of you. You guys like the content. We're posting content every day, shorts every single day, live streams every week, and long-form videos once, even twice a week now. So definitely you want to be a part of it. You want to become a baller, hit that subscribe button. And if you want to dive deeper, into Basement Baller culture,
into the lore, we suggest go into our description, peep all our socials, and look at that Discord link, because that Discord link is a gateway to a magical place called the Ballers Academy, where almost 150 of y'all brothers are in there chatting about football, talking about football with your like-minded fans, the bummy Barca fans, the fraud Madrid fans, the amazing Liverpool fans, and that's all in the Discord, the Ballers Academy. Look at that link, click it, join it, become it. It's growing every single day, and it's a place where we all interact, communicate, and have a lot of fun. So without further ado, guys, thank you. Share your thoughts, and we'll see you on the next video. Peace.